All right, let's talk about automation. If you've ever looked at your build scripts and seen a tangled mess instead of a smooth process, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to transform that chaos into something elegant, efficient, and honestly, pretty powerful. Jenkins pipelines.
You know the feeling, right? You have automation, but it's fragile. It's this collection of scripts that maybe one person on the team truly understands, and when it breaks, everything just grinds to a halt. That's what happens when we rush to automate things without a real plan.
And it's a totally fair question to ask yourself. I mean, if you're spending more time fixing the automation than the time it's supposed to be saving you, something's just not right. But here's the good news. There is a much, much better way, and it's built right into Jenkins.
So, how do we get out of this mess? We move from chaos to control, and we do that by adopting a philosophy called pipeline as code. This isn't just about running some scripts. It's about defining your entire development workflow in a way that's structured, repeatable, and version controlled.
So why does this matter so much? Well, first, consistency. Every single build, every test, every deployment follows the exact same process. No exceptions. It's efficient because you're automating all those boring, repetitive tasks. It scales as your project gets more complex, and you get full traceability, a perfect audit trail of everything that happened and when. Now, the absolute heart of this whole approach is one single, really powerful file. Think of it as the blueprint for your entire automation process. Let's get to know the Jenkins file. And here's the magic trick. A Jenkins file. It's just a text file. That's it. But by putting your pipeline's definition in this file and checking it into your Git repository right alongside your application code, you start treating your automation like actual software. It gets code reviews, it has a version history, the whole team can see it and contribute.
Okay, so Jenkins gives you two ways to write these files, declarative and scripted. Scripted was the original way. It's pure groovy code, which is super flexible, but man, it can get complicated fast. Declarative is the modern standard. It gives you a much simpler, structured way to write your pipeline with built-in error checking that makes it way easier to read and maintain. Seriously, for almost everyone starting out, declarative is absolutely the way to go.
All right, let's actually rip one of these things apart and see what it's made of. Let's break down what a basic declarative Jenkins file looks like. Once you see the structure, it all just kind of clicks. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with the pipeline block. This is the main container, the wrapper for your entire definition. It's the first thing Jenkins looks for, and it basically says, hey, everything inside these curly braces is one single workflow from beginning to end. Next up, you'll almost always see the agent directive. A Jenkins agent is just a machine that does the actual work. Using agent any is the simplest way to go. You're just telling Jenkins, look, I don't care where this runs. Just find any available worker machine and get to it. Super simple, perfect for getting started. Now we get to the organization. The stages block holds the major phases of your process. You can think of these as the big columns you see in the Jenkins dashboard. First we build, then we test, then we deploy. It gives you this amazing visual clarity into what's happening. And finally, inside each of those stage blocks, you have steps. This is where the rubber meets the road. These steps are the actual commands you want to run, like printing a message or running a shell script. This is where your automation logic actually lives. Okay, once you've got that basic structure down, you can start to unlock some really cool stuff, some real intelligence and flexibility. Let's look at a few superpowers that can take your automation to a whole new level. These three are total game changers. Parameters lets you ask for info before a run starts, like, hey, which version should I deploy? The when directive is awesome for adding logic. For example, you can say only run the deploy to production stage when the branch is master. And post is perfect for cleanup or sending notifications, letting you say always send a Slack message whether the build passed or failed. So a well-structured pipeline is fantastic, but a fast and maintainable pipeline, that's even better. Let's talk a little bit about architecture for performance. So by default, your stages run one after the other. The build finishes, then the tests start. But what if you have tasks that don't depend on each other at all, like running unit tests, integration tests, and security scans? Well, you can wrap them in a parallel block. This tells Jenkins, hey, run all of these at the same time and get that critical feedback to your team way, way faster. And this is exactly why it matters so much. Just look at that difference. In this example, running our 3 test stages one by one took 21 seconds. By running them in parallel, that time dropped to just 5 seconds. That's not just a nice little speed boost. You're literally slashing your team's feedback loop from minutes down to seconds. That means faster bug fixes and faster development. Now let's think bigger. What happens when you have dozens of pipelines and they all need to do the same thing, like send a Slack notification? Do you copy and paste that code everywhere? No way. You use a shared library. This lets you write that logic once, store it in its own Git repo, and then just call it from any Jenkins file you want. It keeps your pipeline super clean and dry. Don't repeat yourself.
Phew, we have covered a lot of ground. So, to wrap this all up, let's boil it down into a clear, actionable checklist you can start using literally today. Here it is, your cheat sheet. 1. Start with declarative syntax for everything new. 2. Organize your work into clear, logical stages. 3. Always be looking for independent tasks you can run in parallel to save time. 4. Centralize your common code into shared libraries. And 5, and this is a big one, remember your pipeline is code. It needs love and attention, so review it and improve it over time, just like the rest of your application.
Ultimately, when you start treating your CI/CD process as code, you unlock this whole new level of power and efficiency. It stops being this mysterious black box of clicks in a UI and becomes a transparent, version-controlled asset for your entire team. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it? Thanks for tuning in.